Prepare to be wild.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the final part of our review for United in Stormwind from a wild perspective. I'm here with Electric Sheep City, and we are now on the neutral cards. So we're just going to trade back and forth each card and go through the last bit of the set here. So first up, I've got Peasant. This is a 1 mana 2/1 kind of vanilla card. At the start of your turn, draw a card. So this is like the counterpart to our Peon, right? In like old school Warcraft lore, the Peasant is the one that builds the stuff. So it's cute. I hope that he says like, you know, work, or job's done. Like this is the job's done guy right here. I don't like that this card says at the start of your turn. It reminds me of all those caravans where like, you know, you're going to play it and then it's going to do nothing. So there's that. So this is pack filler with a lot of flavor.
Yeah. And unlike the caravans, this only has 1 health. Caravans had more. This one's like, nope, it's only a 2/1. So it's very much pack filler.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Anyways, yeah, I give it a 1.
Same.
I love that Bat Maisel said, "Hey, you guys made a card that looks like me. It's so cool." Like, I love that. That's pretty great. Aside from that, I don't like the card though. Yeah. All
right, so that brings us to Stockade's Guard. Stockade's Guard is a 1 mana 1/3. The battle cry: give a friendly minion taunt. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be doing. That's about as many nice things as I have to say about Stockade's Guard. What do you think, Nate?
My note says bad. Like, just says bad. It's pack filler. I mean, okay. If this is not a, like, if I have a really limited collection and I'm going to open this and I could play it if I needed to, I suppose, but I'm never going to intentionally put this in anything. So, yep, that's just 1 for me.
Cool.
All right. Next up, we have 2 mana 1/2 called Deep Run Engineer. Battlecry: discover a mech. It costs 1 less. Okay. I don't really have much to say about this either. Like, hey, this is like cool in Arena maybe, where like I need to be discovering cards for like value, but I don't have any real desire to play this. Like, we're not really putting mechs in anything, and you know, discovering random stuff is not really what I want to be doing. So, you know, okay, it is what it is, but I don't really have anything to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, discovering a mech isn't bad. Discounting it isn't bad, but 2 mana 1/2.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't fit into the game plan of like really much of anything. I mean,
and most of the time, whenever you're running a mech deck, which isn't even a thing in standard right now, so I'm not sure why, but I digress. You want the original body itself to be a mech. This body's not. So.
Yeah.
Pack filler.
Yep. I give it a 1.
Same.
Yep. Okay.
That brings us to the Florist. So Florist is a 2 mana 2/3. And at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a nature spell in your hand by 1. Finally, a normally costed to statted card. The effect seems kind of decent. I mean, this is at the end of the day either an arena or pack filler card or both, and that's okay. Like, typically in Druid, we're gonna have a lot of nature spells. I imagine that's where they kind of pegged this one to go into. But I don't want to pay to only get a guaranteed discount of 1. It's pack filler. It's fine.
I like the art. I think that the typo is funny. It says at then end of your turn, which I think.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, typo. It's someone pointed it out. They'll fix it, they said. But yeah, I mean, the only deck I really see this running in is like a Druid deck. right? Or like where else are you running nature spells? I mean, maybe shaman, but like I don't. There's other things that I want to be doing. So, I mean, I gave it a 1. It might be a 2, but like I just never see myself playing this because there's so many better cards. So,
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever put this in your deck, but if you discovered it or something, yeah. So 1 for me as well.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. All right. Next up is it's a Pandaren Importer. This is a 2-mana 1/3 Battlecry. Discover a spell that didn't start in your deck. My immediate thought was like, oh hey, Quest Mage. You know, I
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess you could do that. Like we haven't really played Quest Mage in a while now, and I guess that's maybe a thing. Like I don't know. I haven't played it in such a long time that I suppose we could brush the dust off of that. So I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's definitely not meta, but it could be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, discovering a spell decent that didn't start in your deck seems more like a downside than a positive, because it basically looks at all of the spells that it could discover, looks at your deck, tosses out the ones that would match the things that started in your deck. I don't think that I want to really be doing this.
It should
Two
say
mana 1/3.
It should say Battlecry discover a bad spell is like, right. I mean, my thought was like, okay, like Quest Mage, you have to play spells that didn't start in your deck. Like, okay, this does that, I guess, but like,
Yeah, if you were just discovering a spell, then it would do the same thing.
that's true. That's true. I give it a 2 because like there's some very borderline fringe potential. I don't think it's probably good, but
yeah, and I gave it a 1. I'm
totally fair.
just kind of not going to overthink that one.
Nope. Nor should you.
So that brings us to Si7 Skulker. Si7 Skulker is a 2-mana 2/3 with stealth and battle cry. The next card you draw costs 1 less. So this is another SI card. This one seems like one of the strongest ones in the thing. And it's a 2/2. Sorry if I misspoke. 2-mana 2/2. Stealth and solid battle cry. Discount something that's in your deck that the next card you draw. Since it's a battle cry that persists across turns. Kind of solid. When am I ever going to actually run this? Whenever I'm not running a Si7 deck, though. It's a good effect. But I don't think I'm ever actually putting this in my deck unless I'm running Si7s, which, as we already established in the rogue part, we're not really doing in wild.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I put it in like standard Si7 rogue. The only way I would play it in wild is if it also included, like if it said battle cry, the next card you draw costs 1 or costs 1 less, comma, draw a card. Like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Maybe I stick it in Pillager Rogue or something like that, but it just doesn't fit anywhere. So yeah, I don't see it in wild right now. It's a standard card. Well, it's a decent standard card. So yeah, I gave it a 1. It's like a regretful 1. Like if we were rating for standard, I'd give it higher, but I don't think it really fits anywhere.
Yeah. On my notes, I gave it a 2, but I think I'm going to drop it to a 1 just because I was a little bit higher on the Si7 stuff until we kind of got to that area and talked it out. So to be consistent, dropping it down.
Okay. All right. Next up is called the Impatient Shopkeep. This is a 3-mana 3/3 tradable rush. Okay. This doesn't look bad. I don't know what I would use it in, but it definitely is not bad.
Ooh, I know.
Yeah, my notes say great to discover. Yeah, what do you play it in?
Arena.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I mean, tradable is cool. Rush is cool. Um, you know,
Great arena card.
sure.
Look,
Yeah, I I I struggled scoring this between like a 1 and a 2 because it's not a bad card. I'm just like, but I'm not gonna put it in anything either. It's one of those vanilla cards that's just not. So I don't know. I mean, I'm settling on like a 1 just because like I'm not gonna use it at all. But I don't think it's a bad card.
you may possibly end up using this on your EU account where you have less cards.
Yes,
Maybe.
budget options for things like yeah, okay.
Yeah. But as far as decks that you want to build and decks that you want to put together rather than just kind of a bridge into the deck that you want, yeah, you're not going to actively run this in anything.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a 1 for that reason, despite it, being a solid card.
Yep.
I know you were teetering between a 1 and a 2. What did you settle on?
Oh, just a 1. I give it a 1.
Cool. That brings us to Northshire Farmer. So Northshire Farmer is a 3-mana 3/3 with Battle Cry. Choose a friendly beast, shuffle 3/3 copies into your deck. This is very much for combo with the boar that we'll get to before too long, the Elwyn Boar. It's a neutral, shuffle a beast. That's actively what it's for. That gives you the possibility of doing that combo in every single class. And I think that people, like our buddy Clark Hellscream, are going to want to do that combo in every single class. So it's going to see at the very least some play. And Northshire Farmer is going to see play alongside it in our format as well as standard. So we'll see it in a very specific area. We won't see it many other places. I would be remiss if I didn't say the art has an adorable little sheepy on it. And I mean, for that reason and that reason alone, I'm gonna play Northshire Farmer. Let's be real. What do you think, Nate?
When I looked at this, the first thing that came to my mind was, golly Bob, howdy.
That's my notes too, is Golly Bob Howdy.
So, I could potentially see, a hunter expert Duin or Sidisi or somebody like that. Like, okay, if there's, some kind of thing that would be really good. Like, okay, the Elwyn Boar is one. Like, I could use this on the venomous Scorpid or something like that too. Like, there's some potential like value generator. Do I think that it's really going to be used all that much? Like, no. And maybe in standard for some thing. I put a 2 because I feel like it's fringe playable. Like, it's not bad. It's a combo enabler. I don't see it being run in just about anything though. But
yeah.
You could do something with it. Yeah, and Stone Tusk Boar, something with charge. I don't know. I mean, there's potential. It's like I feel like it's mostly meme potential or like fringe potential, but like it's not bad.
Yeah, and I also gave Northshire Farmer a 2 because of the Elwyn Boar. We're going to see Northshire Farmer in pretty much every class, and tell people get bored of that.
Yeah. All right, next up is Package Runner. This is a 3-mana 5/6. Can only attack if you have at least 8 cards in hand. Like, I'm sorry, what? This card sucks. This card is like beyond
so bad.
Okay. So I understand like the design, but like, when are you going to have 8 cards in hand? Like, are you talking Warlock or Priest? Maybe? This card is awful. It's just bad. It's just really bad.
Yeah, agreed. I guess you play this on 3, and then your opponent is a hand lock, and your a priest and you play Mind Render Lucia so the next turn so that you can attack with this and do nothing else. I don't know.
It's awful. I give it a 1.
I did as well.
Yeah.
And I tried really hard to find a way.
Yeah, no,
that was as close as I got.
I looked. Yeah. Oh, hey, is there something that I missed? No. Silence Priest. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there we are. So that brings us to Rustrot Viper. Rustrot Viper is a 3-mana, 3/4 beast with tradable and the battle cry. Destroy your opponent's weapon. So Odd Warrior has weapon destruction now, which is cool. I mean, I guess they had it before, but this is more versatile, and you can straight up play it, whereas you can't ooze. And the tradable makes it just so much more versatile because, I mean, of all the ways that tradable normally does. But also, hey, I kept this because I thought I was playing against Kingsbane. Turns out it was, I don't know, all rogues have weapons we want to remove. That's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You mulligan for the incorrect archetype, and then you want to toss it back.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. Weapon destruction is good. It's a beast. 3-mana, 3/4 is solid. I mean, straight up good card.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of times we run weapon removal in various control decks, various Reno decks, and I love the tradable aspect of it. So that if I pull this and realize like I don't need it, let me ship it back and get something different. It seems solid to me. 3-mana, 3/4 is okay. I feel like I like it better than an ooze. And if we keep seeing things like people running Jiraxes, people running all these like Whack-A-Knoll hammers in the Elemental Shaman, or some other things, whether it's we've seen a lot of weapons lately, so there's potential that this sees play. I gave it a 3. Like, it seems playable. I don't have any issues with it. I'm not really sure what it slots into. It's definitely a tech card, but it's not a bad tech card.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you on the 3.
Cool. Okay. Is this one me or you? I can't even remember. That's awful.
You're up.
All right. The next one up is called Traveling Merchant. This is a 3-mana, 2/3 tradable battle cry. Gain +1/+1 for each other friendly minion you control. That's interesting. Like, I had to think about this for a second, because my first impression was like, hey, yeah, these neutral cards are pretty bad. And then I thought, and then I thought Reaver Ryan Odd Paladin. And okay, actually, if I've got a bunch of little tokens on the board, this might not be that bad, actually. In like Odd Paladin, like, I don't know what I would take out to throw this in, but like it could be pretty easily a 3-mana, like 5/6 or something. And so I don't think it's as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't know that it's good, but like it could slot into something.
Yeah, I go back and forth. It seems kind of like a win more card, in that if you're like Odd Paladin, it's not like it buffs your board. It gets buffed by you having a board,
Mm-hmm.
which then your opponent can deal with. But, it's a 3-mana card if you're playing it early or late. And it being scalable is really nice. It's a perfectly playable card. I don't think that it's going to make the cut, even in Reaver Ryan Paladin. But it's not bad.
No. And by Reaver Ryan Paladin, I don't mean any shade at Reaver Ryan.
No.
Whoever that turns out to be. What I mean is it's a budget option, right? So
Yes.
I want to play a meta deck, but I don't have all the cards. Like, okay, jam this in. Like, if on turn 1 I get 2 dudes, and on turn 2 I get 2 more dudes, and on turn 3 this is a 3-mana 5/6. maybe, or a
Yeah.
4/5. Like it's not bad, but it feels
And
like a budget option.
Yeah, and as a budget option, yeah, it's a great inclusion to bridge the gap into whenever you have a more robust collection for that deck.
Yeah, I gave it a 2. I feel like it's fringe. It's like it's not bad, but I'm not going to go out of my way to stick this in anything either.
Yeah, I also gave it a 2.
Cool.
So that brings us to Guild Trader. Guild Trader is a 4 mana 3/4 tradable. Makes sense because it's a trader itself. And has spell damage +2. Most of the time, whenever something has spell damage +2, it is way overpriced. This one is only slightly overpriced. Like the other one that I can think of is a 4 mana 2/2. This one's a 4 mana 3/4. The other one doesn't see play. I don't think this one really will either, but if you discover this from like the primordial or whichever studies it is that discovers spell damage cards, sometimes it may be what you're looking for. Sometimes it might not, and then you can select that and then trade it back into your deck and draw something that you actually put there. So it's got possibilities. Spell damage +2 for 4 mana is kind of the standard, but also why we don't really see a whole lot of spell damage +2 cards actively played. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I don't really like it. I mean, I think, maybe in these new standard mage archetypes, like it's okay. Maybe as a budget option, like a standard budget option, because it's a common. But like, it's nothing special. I'm not going to intentionally like put this into anything. Like I'm not going to put it in even mage or anything like that. So, it's not bad. It's better than some of the old spell damage cards that we got. And the tradable is like one of my favorite features that they've ever done. It's really, really cool. I still scored it as a 1 because like I'm not going to use this at all. But the card itself is a legit card. It's not bad.
Yeah. I also gave it a 1 with the caveat that if I discover it, I won't always be disappointed, which is a 1 because you're not putting it in your deck.
Yeah. Okay, next up is the Royal Librarian. This is a 4 mana 3/4 tradable battle cry silence a minion. And like, okay, this is just another like vanilla silence option. Like they don't make silence cards very often anymore. So this is interesting. But at the same time, like, again, this is a tech card that I'm not going to be really running in anything. That being said, like, okay, I feel like this is designed for standard, and like, okay, there's a bunch of mounts that are all going to be running around now, and maybe some other buff a card type things. Mm-hmm. So silence could be valuable in that sort of meta. I like the tradable, especially for tech cards. Like, okay, cool, I draw this and I don't need it right now. Like, let me ship it back and maybe I'll draw it later when I need it. Yeah, definitely it's a better Spellbreaker, but we don't run Spellbreaker, so that's the deal. I like the stats better. I like the tradable a lot. I just don't like... We'll see, if the meta gets to a place where there's tons of things that need a silence, like this is a good silence card. I'm not a big fan of tech cards personally.
Yeah. I have in my notes that this is a less aggressively statted Spellbreaker, which we don't play anymore. I think that the tradable aspect, like you were intimating, is the most important part here because tech cards having tradable is exactly what we want. So kind of like how Restaurant Viper, it's a tech card, but it also has tradable. So if you don't need it for that matchup or that particular situation, you can spend a mana and draw a different card instead. I think it's all around solid. I don't know that I'm really going to be running this in much, but if we end up needing a lot of silence, I can see running this over like a Spellbreaker. But we're not really running Spellbreaker either.
No.
So,
in the event that like when silence was needed, like an odd paladin, like a jam an owl in because it's odd. If this is needed, like if we get to a point when silence is needed, this is the silence card that I would use because of the tradable.
Yeah.
So, I'll keep this in mind in my back pocket somewhere. I'll give it a 2. It's like fringe, like playable if needed, but probably not needed.
Yeah, I'm right there with you at that too.
Cool. I think this is
and yeah, I think you're right. I got mixed up that time.
I know. It's like, well, I know it's been a long day. It's been a long day. So
true words, but the end is nigh.
That's true.
And that brings us to Spice Bread Baker. Spice Bread Baker is a 4-mana 3/2 with Battle Cry. Restore health to your hero equal to your hand size. So this is the card that like Handlock and Evenlock really want, I'm thinking, to heal up, question mark? I don't know. 4 mana, heal, what? 6? 8?
4?
Doesn't seem
maybe?
bad.
I don't. It seems
but it doesn't seem super proactive, and Evenlock and Handlock, the point is to fill up your hand so that you can do something with it, not just heal your hero back up. Sometimes you need to do that kind of thing, but it's not proactive enough. So that was here's where I might want to run it. Here's why I'm never going to do that thing.
Yeah. That was my note too. Yeah. Like, okay, if this goes anywhere, it's in like an Evenlock, which I don't think it does. I see synergy with the Flesh Giant because you're restoring health. But like overall, no, I just don't think it's good enough. I just gave it a 1. I don't think it's good enough.
Yeah, I gave it a 1 as well. I tried.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is the Stubborn Suspect. This is a 4-mana 3/3 Death Rattle. Summon a random 3-cost minion. Like, yeah. Okay. It's like vanilla 4-mana Death Rattle. Like, if you don't have better options and you're playing Death Rattle Demon Hunter or something, like, okay, jam this. But it's nothing special. I don't like the random aspect in Standard. I really don't like the random aspect in Wild. And, like, whatever. I don't think it's good.
Yeah. This is an arena card.
Yeah. Hey, there's some little bit of value there. You're playing arena or whatever, sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's all. I don't see it as really anything other than that.
Yeah. So for Wild, I gave it a 1.
Me too.
Cool. That brings us to Battleground Battlemaster. Battleground Battlemaster is a 5-mana 5/5. Adjacent minions have Wind Fury. And if this was a Battlegrounds card, that might be a little bit more interesting. Not much, but a little bit. I don't know. 5-mana 5/5 is vanilla stats. Adjacent minions have Wind Fury is a powerful effect. But I don't have any way to buff those minions. And if like my combo or whatnot involves playing this to give 2 things Wind Fury, then my combo has a really expensive utility piece in 5 mana to get there. I don't think this is a bad card. I just don't really see a home for this in Standard, let alone Wild. How about you, Nate?
I see some sleeper potential in Dark Glare, where I drop 2 giants and then I drop this in the middle of them, and that's just game over. So there, I see some potential because like we used to see people running the mech that gave your whole board a bunch of random side effects.
Enhanso Mechano.
Yeah, Enhanso Mechano, and then right now like we're seeing Tamsin PO. And like if I can, okay, so say I can drop even 1 giant on like turn 3 or something, turn 4, This is kind of scary. I don't know. That's the only place I really see it going in. Chat says hand buff. So I think that there's some burst potential here. I really see it in Dark Glare, but like I don't know. I scored it as a 4, which might be a lot, but like I think that this might be a finisher in some decks.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't like pan it. Like I gave it a 2 and I feel comfortable doing that. Like if I'm wrong, then honestly with this one I hope I'm not wrong.
Right. Well, and I don't know. I think this is definitely one that people are going to test play and maybe it's good and maybe it's not. You know, at the end of the day it's a 5-mana 5/5. But there's some kind of crazy swing potential out of nowhere. That's the thing. Like anything on the board sticks, or like Elemental Shaman or something. Like something sticks on the board, and then I drop this, and then I just lose. And it's like, oh. So
well,
we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think like CookieBots is saying now when you're calculating how much burst damage like people have from hand, you keep this in the back of your mind. I don't know. We'll see how prevalent it becomes, but I think there's some potential there. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Leroy PO this is 20 damage.
Right? I mean, this might be kind of scary, I think. I don't want to deal with this, but I think it might be actually pretty good. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, anyways. All right, next up is Lion's Guard. This is a 5-mana 4/6 battle cry. If you have 15 or less health, gain +2/+4 and taunt. Yeah, hey, too bad this is not even cost. You could jam it into even lock. Yeah. This might be like my favorite art of the set. Like I love the picture. The mask reminds me of like Dr. Fate. Like it's super cool, but I don't.
It's gonna be glorious in gold too.
Yeah. I don't. The card itself, like, you're not gonna play it in anything. Like this would be okay in like even lock if it was even.
Yeah. A 5-mana 6/10 with taunt. Seems fine. But the ask seems pretty high whenever it's not whatchamacallit, even for even lock.
Yeah, I just don't think it's good enough for anything.
Yeah, if you have more than 15 health, it doesn't have the taunt, which I think is pretty impactful too. So
yeah, I give it a 1.
I did as well.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay, that brings us to Stormwind Guard. Stormwind Guard is a 5-mana 4/5 with taunt and battle cry. Give adjacent minions +1/+1. So I thought of Stormwind Guard as kind of like Defender of Argus, except the original minion, or the minion that you're paying for, has the taunt instead of Argus, and I think it's kind of a strictly worse Defender of Argus, because Argus, you spread the taunt across 2 different things. You're only guaranteed to have 2/2. Well, really, I guess 2/4 because each one needs at least 1 health in order to actually be on the board and thus get buffed. So that, Defender of Argus isn't really seeing play. I kind of doubt that Stormwind Guard will either. Really strong arena card. But I don't know. It kind of seems like Defender of Argus that has less things having taunt, whereas the taunt stats are a little bit more variable.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nate?
I feel like it's a worse Defender of Argus or a worse Fungomancer. Like Fungalmancer is a 5-mana 2/2 battlecry. Give adjacent minions +2/+2. Like, I'd rather do that if I'm going to spread it out. Granted, this has taunt, and so, like, okay, this will soak up the damage and my 2 adjacent things will, like, hit stuff, but, like, what am I sticking this in? I'm not sticking this in Odd Paladin. I'm not sticking...
no.
I'm not sticking this in, like, pretty much anything. Like, it's a budget option for whatever, but, like, just run Defender of Argus. I just gave it a 1. Like, it's a cute idea, but, like, if I was going to do this... I'd rather run Fungalmancer. Like when we have done like budget decks or whatever in, Pauper or in like a, listener series or something like that. Like I'll play Fungalmancer instead. It does the same thing, but better for the same cost. So,
yeah. Completely agreed. I also gave it a 1.
All right. Next up is City Architect. This is a 6-mana 4/4 battlecry. Summon 2 0/5 castle walls with taunt. This gives a nice flavor. I don't think I ever really want to play this though. Even in I started thinking even in in a Shutterwalk or something but then you deal with board space issues and I just really don't see really ever wanting to do this. Maybe if it cost 4 or something, but it costs a lot. And it's purely defensive. Like it's not proactive. It's reactive and it's not really my thing.
Yeah. Completely agreed. Deafen negates. This has a lot of defense, but 6 mana 4/4, not particularly powerful for trading. And the castle walls themselves not having any sort of attack is really unfortunate. So I'm not a big fan of City Architect myself. It helps, keep your face from taking those 10 damage, but you're not really impacting the board very much after that with your 4/4 and they're not soaking up any health because they have 0 attack. So I like the flavor of City Architect, but I gave them a 1.
Yeah.
How about you, Nate?
Yeah, me too. I just give it a 1. I just don't see playing this in anything. You could find some super fringe deck, but realistically, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, so that brings us to Moarg Forge Fiend. Moarg Forge Fiend is an 8-mana, 8/8 demon with taunt. In Death Rattle, gain 8 armor. The art looks incredible, and that's not a this is getting a 1 statement. The art looks thick. I don't think that I want to run this in cube lock or anything like that, but Reno lock maybe, if I'm using what's her name, the legendary Archwitch Willow, thank you. Hey, this pulls it out of my hand or my deck. It's an 8/8 and then I gain 8 armor. That's impactful. It's got taunt, so they have to trade into it. It's a demon, so things like Archwitch Willow actually pull it. Skull of the Minari would also pull it. It would then resummon with both Nas and Blood Reaver Gul'dan. So I can see Moarg Forge Fiend getting play and being pretty sick. And whenever I'm playing Standard, I will hate seeing this from Cenarian Ward 2.
Yeah, so there's an argument that this is better than Voidlord. And here's the reason why. So it's got the 8-mana 8/8 taunt, Death Rattle, gain 8 armor is great. The downside with the Voidlord is that it poops out the 1/3s, which then pollute your it pollutes your Blood Reaver Gul'dan res pool. Because you don't want to bring back a bunch of 1/3s.
Right.
And so, especially in Reno lock, this is almost an instant include for me. This seems nuts. I love Voidlord, don't get me wrong. I've got golden Voidlords, but this is seems really strong. I think I keep the Desperate Dreadlord, and I put this probably in place of the Void Lords. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like, it requires testing, but this card is good. I scored it a 4. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, I also gave it a 4. It's got a direct meta deck that it will slot right into, and that's pretty much our definition of a 4.
Yeah, I like this one. Finally, a neutral card that's good.
Yay!
All right, we finally got to the rares. Okay, so next up is called Encumbered Pack Mule. I love the art. He looks so upset and like
He's so grumpy.
He's so grumpy. Okay, this is a 2-mana 2/3 beast with taunt. When you draw this, add a copy of it to your hand. Okay, that's interesting, and not bad. Like, okay. This is like not a bad card for somebody who's playing standard on a budget. Like, okay. I mean, I don't see myself playing this, but I also don't think it's bad. It's really not very bad. Just don't know where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool mechanic. I really like the mechanic. Like you kind of intimated, it's not particularly powerful in and of itself. You know, it's a 2-mana 2/3 taunt. It's technically, each one is technically 2 of them, as long as you don't get it in your mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
But so I mean, I guess it gives you card advantage, which is nice. But yeah, it's not that great for competitive or wild in particular, but I'm not going to knock it as a card because, like you said, people on a budget and or playing standard and or, you know, like there are plenty of places that it could be, just not really competitively and a lot of the fun decks in wild. So for me, I gave it a 1 for our wild review with the full acknowledgement that it's not a bad one. How about you, Nate?
Yeah, I gave it a 2. I don't really have anything else to say about it, though. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's fair. That brings us to Mailbox Dancer. Mailbox Dancer is a 2-mana 3/2 minion with both Battle Cry and Death Rattle. So Battle Cry, add a coin to your hand. Death Rattle, give your opponent a coin. So there's apparently like some WoW lore for Mailbox Dancer and stuff like that. And okay, cool. 2-mana 3/2, aggressively statted. Battle Cry, add a coin to your hand. Not terrible. Death Rattle, give your opponent a coin. I don't want to give my opponent anything. So Evolve Shaman, maybe? CookieBots is saying, but at the end of the day, the things that I want to evolve probably start from a little bit of a higher floor. But it, you know, getting a coin, Hydra intimated that he gave this a 3 because of the Uther OTK. And that makes a lot of sense, you know, getting more coins for that. You kind of need ways to generate that. I just wish that we weren't giving our opponent a coin. Yeah. That's the really big downside for me.
Yeah. I had heard as well early on, like, okay, this slots into like an Uther OTK because, hey, great, you can use the coin to do like combo off. And we kind of struggle with ways to get spells and get, reset our hero power or whatever. And like this works to do that. It has a downside. I ended up giving it a 2 because I feel like it's fringe. I really like the Uther deck. But it still feels fringe to me. But I think it does potentially it's like a combo enabler because of the coin. This is like the flip side of that shark card that we saw in Rogue, right? This is like the better version of it. So,
yeah. because we get it first, and then the death rattle gives it to our opponent rather than the other way around.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Better.
where I see it. I mean, I slot it into Uthro TK and see if we can make it work. Because I know for a while people were running the quest in that, and then like questing adventure to get the coin that way. Not to actually use the quest, but just to get the coin. And so this saves you a card. Like, cool, I don't have to play the quest anymore. It's still a fringe deck. So yeah, we'll see it. And because it's neutral, it could go into any deck. So like, okay, you pick a combo deck and toss this into it, for the coin. Okay.
For the coin.
At the end of the day, I look at this and I say, okay, cool. Fringe combo enabler 2.
Okay, cool. French combo enabler 2.
All right, there we go. This plus Bolner plus Penflinger is a 3 card board clear. Maybe. I'd have to test it. We're not quite sure how Bolner works yet. Like, we think we know, but
So even with that, it would work. Like, even if the Mailbox Dancer doesn't double up the very first time, every time you play a battle cry after that,
it's just going to start giving you a bunch of coins.
Yeah, which then you combo with the
Yeah.
Penflinger, and you can just APM down a
It's a too
board
bad
full of giants.
Too bad Penflinger doesn't go face anymore. That's the downside here. So
Hey, loser.
was it me? All right, let's move on. Next up is Entrapped Sorceress. This is a 3-mana 3/4 battle cry. If you control a quest, discover a spell. My note here says quest mage ? Like, okay. Doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look great. Looks like I don't really know what this goes in. Like, I'm either jamming this in quest mage or quest shaman, and both of those are not super great at the moment. And quest hunter, yeah, maybe actually the new quest hunter, maybe. There's potential. So I don't know. We could try it out. I scored it a 2 because I could see it seeing some play. Like, I don't look at this and it doesn't scream like this is great. Like, I just look at it and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is a card. And I could be totally wrong. And honestly, I hope I am. I love when I'm totally miss something. So yeah, maybe this is a thing.
Yeah, I kind of doubt that it will be a thing, though, unfortunately. I ended up giving Entrapped Sorceress a 1. Discovering a spell is decent, don't get me wrong, but I'd kind of rather, for the most part, just putting the spell in my deck to begin with, and the kind of contingency that you have to control a quest to do so. Already completed my quest, then, well, or, like a quest mage. I think that there are kind of better ways to discover spells. Many of them also discount the spells, so I would love to be wrong about Entrapped Sorceress being a 1, but I rated it a 1.
Yeah. Yep.
Which brings us to Two-Faced Investor. Two-Faced Investor is a 3-mana 2/4 minion that reads, at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a card in your hand by 1. 50% chance to increase instead. So these like ogres with the two heads, some of them have positive results, like actually attacking when you mean to. Some of which have negative results, like either staying asleep or attacking a different opponent, or. I love the flavor of this. Oh, 1 Thorsan tick for 3 mana to one specific card rather than, one random card, not specific, not targeted, rather than your whole hand. seems kind of meh, and a 50% chance for it instead of to decrease to increase seems like a really big drawback. So, love the flavor of the card and will never run it in my deck.
Right.
What do you think, Nate?
I'm ready. I'm not ready. I don't like this card. My note says bad. It's just bad. The downside absolutely outweighs any potential upside, and this doesn't fit into anything or whatever. It's silly. The flavor is cute. There always has to be a two-headed ogre in like every set, and so okay, this is the obligatory two-headed ogre. So
Check that box.
Check the box. I gave it a 1. Yeah,
I did as well.
all right. Next up is the Goldshire Knoll. This is a 10 mana 5/4 with Rush. Costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. I actually like this one, potentially for even lock, or hand lock, whatever you want to call it. With that being said, like, this still probably costs too much. Like, I want to try it in there maybe. And okay, it probably ends up costing like 6, 5, 4, something like that, maybe. If you top deck it, it's still playable. But like, if you play this as like 8 or 9 mana for a 5/4 rush, that kind of sucks. So like, you really want to get the value out of it. I feel like it's kind of fringe, and I've seen it in a couple of theory crafts, but and maybe it works, but I'm kind of skeptical. But that's where I see it.
Yeah, the fact that it's cost 1 less for each other card in your hand. So if you're not running,
it doesn't count itself.
Even, it doesn't count itself. So if you're not running even lock and you're just top decking, you can't tap and then play this. If you're even lock, you can, because tapping only costs 1. But if you're top decking, that's a 10 mana 5/4. If you have, including this, if you have 5 cards in your hand, one of which being the Knoll, it's a 6 mana 5/4 with Rush.
I feel like it should have been a 6/6 or something. Like if
it just seems either a little overcosted or understated. I'm not sure which. It just seems not necessarily slow, just too clunky.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.
Yeah, and I gave it a 1.
Okay.
That brings us to Elwyn Boar.
Bump, 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 bump.
So Elwyn Boar is a 1 mana 1/1 beast, because of course it is, with a death rattle. If you had 7 Elwyn Boars die this game, equip a 15/3 Sword of 1,000 Truths. So Sword of 1,000 Truths is a 10 mana 15/3 weapon. It's already been equipped by the death rattle, so you don't have to pay that 10. But a 15/3 weapon. After your hero attacks, destroy your opponent's mana crystals. All of them. So if you're able to have and kill 7 different boars, then the Sword of 1,000 Truths just deals 15 damage and shuts your opponent out, which is solid. Incredible combo. A little tricky to pull off, but super possible and super doable. And like our buddy Clark is definitely playing around with this. And I can't wait to see the shenaniganry that he makes and see if I can do it myself. Should be fun. The gold version of this is on the rewards track as well, which is
gosh.
awesome.
Wow. Okay. So, that means we get the Sword of 1,000 Truths in gold. Okay. So I don't know. We talked about it last week when you guys were gone, when Blue Train was here. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but this is from like the South Park lore, which I watched. You can watch it for free on their website, and it's really funny. And so, like, there's like the whole meme history behind this card is so funny. And the fact that they made it like a card and that it's potentially playable is like, wow, okay. Okay. Is it going to be good? Like, it's playable. Like there will be ways to do this. It probably involves some like rush or charge mechanics or a lot of resurrect stuff. So I've been tossing around the idea of Pig Priest. and, and like instead of running all of the giant minions, like you play this and like just resurrect it over and over and over until you get the sword. Is it doable? Like maybe not. I'm gonna try for sure. I don't have high hopes, but this is definitely a card.
I can tell you the easiest way to do this. So Northshire Farmer, or other ways of,
Oh yeah, shuffle multiple copies. Right?
Yeah. So both of those are neutrals. The easiest place to do this, of course, is Hunter. There is a 0 mana card that we covered just earlier today, if you can think back that far, called Devouring Swarm, that you can play all of them at once and then Devouring Swarm onto an opponent's minion. They all hit in. Boom. Now you have the Sword of 1,000 Truths and can start a swinging.
Wow. Yeah, that's a card. This will be interesting and fun. It's going to be like, if someone pulls this off, like, how would you even be mad at this? It's like, well, I guess I'll just die then. But I don't know. The card looks funny. The sword looks crazy. The story behind it is really funny. And I kind of like this. It seems also like you have to work for it. I don't think it's going to be meta. But I also don't think that it's like... I scored it a 3. I think it's gonna see play. It might taper off as people realize it's not that easy to do. But like if you can figure out how to do it, it seems like almost impossible to recover from once they play the sword. So just the idea, let me just swing for 15 and destroy all your mana crystals. Like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I want to give this a 3 or a 2. On my notes, I have 2. Or sorry, I have 3 with the note, don't let your memes be dreams. Because it's playable. People are going to play it. Super powerful. It's got a big condition to get there. I think I'm going to end up with the 3 that I jotted. But it's definitely not like meta or particularly like OP. So
yeah. All right. All right. Next up is called Stockade's Prisoner. This is a 2-mana 5/4. Starts dormant. After you play 3 cards, this awakens. Like, well, okay. The closest thing that I think about is that Hunter card. It's the... I don't remember what it's called.
Imprisoned Felmaw.
Hey, there you go. 2-mana 5/4, starts dormant. After 2 turns, awakes and attacks an enemy thing. Like, okay, this is maybe something that you could play maybe in a deck if you wanted to, I guess, with coins, or I don't know. Like, I don't see myself wanting to play this. Like, there are ways... okay, do I play it in standard Quest Paladin where I'm playing a bunch of 1-cost stuff? Like, maybe. I don't see any place that I'm ever going to play this. Like, I really just don't see it.
Yeah.
It's like a standard budget card, maybe, in the right deck.
As an epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a cooler way of doing dormant than we've seen for a lot of things. I actually have that in my notes that it's basically an imprisoned Felmaw too, without needing to wait 2 turns. So if you draw it late game and you have other cards that you can play, then it's not just like sitting there waiting. Of course, the downside is once it's no longer dormant, it doesn't immediately attack like the Felmaw, which is the one good dormant card in the history of dormant cards. I'm being melodramatic. I just don't like the um, way that it was initially handled, but we talked about that then. I'm not sure that we're kind of getting there with this one, though, because you do still have to play 3 other cards. So if you're playing this and 3 other cards in the same turn, then you probably were going to be playing those other cards anyway. If you weren't going to be playing those cards anyway, then you shouldn't do it just to wake this buddy up. 5/4 for 2 is a lot, but it just
What do you play it in? That's the question. Like
exactly.
Nothing. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, that's where I landed. I just gave it a 1. I like the mechanic. It's interesting, and I like the idea of it. Oh yeah, they're in prison and they need some time to pick their way out of prison, and while you're busy playing cards, like they're unlocking the lock. Like it's cute and it's good flavor, and I'm never gonna play it.
And if they have more tools, the cards that you're playing, then they can do it quicker than if they don't have tools and they have to slowly chip away through it. The flavor's great. But yeah, it's a 1 for me too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That brings us to Enthusiastic Banker, who is so enthusiastic.
It's such a sarcastic like name for the card. It's great. Like the name and the art are just like it's chef's kiss.
Yeah. And the flavor continues with the card itself. So it's Enthusiastic Banker. It's a 3-mana 2/3 that reads, at the end of your turn, store a card from your deck. Death Rattle, add the stored cards to your hand. So whenever you store the cards, does it pull them out of your deck?
I think so.
Because it doesn't say copy.
No, it says store. So it sounds like this is like, if you think of it like a bank, right? This is going to hold on to those cards for you.
So
and then when it gets
silenced, or like Potion of Madness.
Yeah. It's going to feel so bad. Don't play this card. So your opponent's going to either silence it or steal it, and you are going to be miserable. Like, oh man.
Yeah, it's a 1. Don't avoid this at all cost.
100% agree. 100% agree. It's a 1. Oh yeah, that's what my note says. Like, Potion of Madness. Thank you. I'll take your cards now. Wow.
Didn't know that Thief Priest would actually take the cards from you. Thought they just copied them.
Okay, so the next card up is a 3-mana 2/3 minion called Scrooge Nobleman. Battle cry: create a golden copy of a random card in your hand. Like, okay. Talk about flavor. Like, this is another one with great flavor, although it's basically a worse Zola the Gorgon, because with Zola you get to target, and this is random. It's random one in your hand, and so this is cute. I didn't say playable, but I like the flavor quite a bit.
You know what it is? Gold, Jerry, gold. But as far as playability, it's a 1.
Yeah. I think it's a 1 as well. And okay. There's some interesting potential. Like in the old days, would we have jammed it into Shutterwalk? Maybe not. I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't think it's good. It's in Arena. It's a value generator. I don't care about the golden. It's going to create a copy of a random card in your hand. Like, do we really want to do that? Probably not. No.
But you know what is good? Cheese.
Huh.
And Cheesemonger loves cheese. Cheesemonger is a 4 mana 3/6 minion. And whenever your opponent casts a spell, add a random spell with the same cost to your hand. So why? Like, I mean, you generate resources, which is kind of cool, but a 0 mana spell could be, anything. A 10 mana spell could be anything, good or bad, and then it's random. And if your opponent knows that you're doing that, I mean, I guess this has kind of soft taunt unless they're trying to mill you. I, eh.
No, the one question that I have, someone brought this up in chat earlier, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was, but they said, hey, the flavor text of this says it's an Si7 card. And I was like, oh. So I Googled it. The flavor text says, secretly the big cheese of Si7. And, right? And I don't know if that's a joke or not, because like it doesn't say Si7 cheesemonger. So it probably is not. Called a doctor. It was called a doctor. Thank you. And so what I would really be interested in is not this card in general. It's, can a card be an Si7 card if it doesn't say Si7 in the name of the card? I assume that this is probably just flavor text and it's a joke. But like,
Yeah.
that potentially opens up some possibilities. I don't think that this card is particularly playable. Like, I mean, I scored it as a 1. I just don't see it. But like, okay. I mean, if you play this card and your opponent leaves it, it's going to generate a bunch of random crap. And maybe that stuff is good and maybe it's not, but it's random. And so I just give it a 1. I don't think I'm ever going to play it. And I don't believe it's an Si7 card. I think that's too, that would be too difficult for new players to say, oh, this is an Si7 card, but it doesn't say Si7. So I agree with that sentiment. The flavor text was cute and, it did make me wonder for a second.
Yeah. And I also gave it a 1. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, we're on the legendaries now.
Wow, legendary.
Nice. You're pretty good at that. Okay. This is a 2-mana 2/3 called Auctioneer Jackson. Whenever you trade, discover a card from your deck to draw instead. Oh, okay. So I have to have this card down, and then I play a tradable card for 1, and then I discover a card from my deck. Like, okay, that's cool. I'm sure there's maybe some combo potential or something, but like, I think it's probably bad. Like, even though we've looked through all these tradable cards, and I don't think, like, the mechanic is awesome, but I don't think we're actually probably going to use all that many of them. And so I don't really see myself jamming this into anything. Like, I just don't know that I would get enough value from it. Where, like, if you compare this to something like Barista Lynching, like, okay, you can get some legit value from that. Like, okay, get all these Battlecry cards, but this is, okay, you trade something and discover, instead of drawing a random, you get to pick one of 3. Like, that's cute. I don't think it's good. It's a neat idea, and I love tradable as a mechanic. I don't think that this card is very good, though.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a critical mass of tradable cards that you would want to or be able to run in a deck to get appropriate value from this card. Because, I mean, it's definitely a value card, right? Like, hey, I'm trading this in. I want to be sure that I'm getting a card that I can, use more in this situation. So I'm paying 3 mana to send something back and discover a card from my deck. So I, know a little bit more what's in there. it's not great. Like if it was a battle cry every time you trade discover instead versus like, the persistent effect of when Auctioneer Jackson is on the board, that may be a little different, but that's not how this goes. Um, eh,
I give it a 1.
I gave it a 1 as well,
All right.
which is sad because I cracked this one open in gold too. I opened like 3 golden legendaries in my
Wow. Well, that's
pre-order
nice.
pack. Like it was a good opening.
Congrats. Hey, that's cool.
So that brings us to Flight Master Dungar. Of course, this is the one that we received for free going, almost a month back? Not quite that long. But we've been able to play with Flight Master Dungar for a little while now. And Flight Master Dungar is a 3-mana 3/3 battle cry. Choose a flight path and go dormant. Awaken with the bonus when you complete it. So you can either choose Westfall, Ironforge, or Eastern Plague lands. And Westfall is in 1 turn. Summon a 2/2 adventure with a random bonus effect. There are, of course, 8 of those. We've had the adventures since the mini set. So I'm not going to go into those too much. Ironforge is in 3 turns. Restore 10 health to your hero. And Eastern Plague lands is in 5 turns. Deal 12 damage randomly split among enemies. I've seen Dungar played mostly in standard. There was like a slight time in Wild when we saw Dungar a little bit. It's versatile. I don't think that. I think I've seen someone pick the 1 mana or the 1 turn Westfall option like once. Mostly it's healing 10 health to your hero against like a control warlock or something like that. Eastern Plague lands, the 12 damage, not really AoE, but random assignment of damage. I've seen a handful of times too, but 5 turns is a lot. It's kind of playable in standard, but I haven't seen it since it kind of dropped and it was like the new shiny that there were no additional shinies to kind of fawn over. It's not terrible, but I don't know that it's particularly like good either. What do you think, Nate?
My note says fun to play for 2 weeks in between sets, but not afterwards. Which I sort of feel like this is okay. This is cute. I really like this from the developer point of view of like, okay, you're pushing the limits of discover an effect. That effect procs after this wakes up from being dormant. Like, cool. Design space, cool. Playable card, like, it's not bad. It's just not good. Like, it was fun. It was like Transfer Student, right? It's like fun to play for a little while in between sets, or Mare and the Fox. Like, oh, cool, let's play it for a couple weeks in between sets. But now that all of these other cards are going to come out, there's just so many better things to play.
And the flavor is there too, because Flight Master Dungar picked us up from the Barrens and is bringing us to Stormwind, right?
Hey,
like,
there you go.
That's why we got it early. Is it that bridges the gap?
Yeah. I scored it a 1. It maybe is a 2, but like I've seen it 0 times in Wild. I've seen it quite a bit in Standard, but like it wasn't not. I don't think it was really almost ever very good. So.
Yeah, in my notes I have 2, but I think I'm going to drop it to a 1 because, like you said, I was thinking of more that I had seen it, but the more I thought about that, the place I had seen it was Standard. So, yep,
Yeah.
1 from me.
All right, cool. All right, next up we have Cornelius Rome. He is a 6 mana 4/5. Flavor-wise, I suppose this is the father of Tamsin and Cariel. So that's pretty cool. The text says, at the start and end of each player's turn, draw a card. So you were drawing a lot of cards with this dude. There's an immediate impact because So minimum guaranteed to draw 2 cards, right? So I play this on my turn. Turn ends, I draw a card. Next turn starts, and it's the opponent's turn. I draw a card, and then they've got to kill it, right? And if they don't, their turn ends, and I draw another card. Like, holy crap, that is a lot of cards to draw.
And then your turn starts, and you draw a 4th card.
Dude, right? And like, oh, okay, this is a card. Am I gonna overdraw with this? Like, maybe they're gonna
if you play it.
they're gonna kill it. They're gonna. I mean, I feel like this has soft taunt big time.
Oh yeah.
I think that this card is really pretty good. I don't know. This is. I don't know. Ben is saying it's bait, but like, I'm still drawing minimum 2 cards with it, and then somebody's got to kill it. Like, it seems pretty solid to me, and maybe I'm being baited. I don't know. What do you think, Sheep?
Yeah, I think it's bait too. I don't know that it's giga bait, but I mean it's bait. Bait tastes good. That's why it works as bait. Drawing a lot, drawing too much is kind of what the issue is here, right? Because okay, if you only draw 2, whatevs. 6 mana is a lot to pay for draw 2.
Yeah.
Right? If you end up drawing more, so let's say you draw 4, and then you still have the 4/5 on board. Okay. The place that I want to draw the most cards kind of like this is aggro. Am I going to run a 6 mana 4/5 in aggro?
No, probably not.
Even with this effect, like, it has soft taunt, but then I have drawn 6 mana, draw 2 with the, kind of soft taunt, right? I kind of go back and forth. It's a lot of draw, but I don't know. It's either too slow, not enough draw, or way too much draw, and it seems like no matter what, there's going to be a downside, and it's going to be a different downside depending on how your opponent decides to interact with it. And giving your opponent that agency rather than taking it for yourself is why I don't particularly like it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hydra sent over his note too. He says, "Holy, that's a lot of draw. Don't mill all your cards. Neutral draw at the top of an aggro deck, maybe. You want to have one by turn 6 though. Good card, probably too slow." And I'm feeling like, all right, I see the bait now. It's very awkward. I don't think it's necessarily bad. Like,
agreed.
Card advantage is a good thing. And if I start drawing too many cards, like, well, okay, that's a problem. But like, I don't know. I'm gonna go cautiously optimistic and give this one a 4. Like, I think it's gonna see play in just about everything as people test it. And and then we'll see. Hey, maybe it's good, maybe it's not good. Like, don't go craft it in gold on day 1. But I will see. We'll see. Hydra gave it a 3. What do you think?
I think I'm gonna go 1.
Wow. Okay. I like it.
It's a powerful effect, but I think it's either too expensive and, like I was saying, at the end of the day, giving your opponent the agency to decide your fate rather than the other way around. Not really a fan of that.
Yeah. Hey, I like this. I like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That brings us to Lady Prestor. Lady Prestor is a 6 mana, 6/7 minion. It's Battle Cry. Transform minions in your deck into random dragons. They keep their original stats and cost. I love this card. I think it's so cool. So it's not all legendary dragons. So it's not like it's going to be new or old. Malagos and stuff like that. You know, we can still have like Bookworm and Primordial Drake and stuff like that. Dragons synergize with other dragons. Oh, hey, look at this. My deck now, all of my minions, what were, are now dragons. So cool. They all will probably synergize with each other.
Yeah, and dragons for the most part are pretty good. I feel like the tricky part here is drawing Lady Prestor, because it's okay, transform minions in your deck into random dragons. They keep their original stats. Okay, so like what is the meme dream? Okay, put a bunch of like 0 cost and 1 cost minions in your deck and then manage to tutor this out and play it, and now the rest of your deck is a bunch of 1 and 0 cost dragons, which is but it says
it's cute lock.
but it says here they keep their original stats though. So I could have the cool battle cries, but it's still going to be so I'll have like a 1/1 Alexstrasza.
Right.
Which is, it feels like a meme to me. Like I love it. Look, the flavor is rad. The art is awesome. This is cool. But like it doesn't feel competitive to me. The flavor is amazing, especially as so this is like Lady Prestor is Onyxia, the Brood Mother, and so the idea of transforming your entire deck into dragons, like, the flavor is spot on. It's really cool. But I don't know that it's actually good. Maybe fun. Definitely fun.
I want to say that we get Lady Prestor for free as well, which is pretty impactful. But I'm pretty sure that we will. But of course, I'm drawing a blank on that. I'll have to find the thing. It's it's in the battle pass. That makes sense. Oh yeah, it's the level 1 one. So not even the paid variant of it. You log in, you're at level 1, you get Lady Prestor. So everyone will have Lady Prestor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think we'll see a lot more of her because everyone gets her for free.
Oh yeah, I see it here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So as far as competitiveness, not particularly. I gave her a 2 just because dragons synergize really well with each other. And if I'm, memeing around, then hey, dropping Lady Prestor in seems like a fun thing to do. Just like on a Monday evening whenever I'm bored. So, Yeah. How did you rate Lady Prestor?
I gave it a 2 as well. I think it's really fun. I don't think that it's like, I don't want to go say it's good. Super fun. So yeah. All right. Right there with you. All right. Our last card. Wow. We have been at it for 11 hours and 21 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. The last card is Varian, King of Stormwind, 8 mana, 7/7, Battle Cry. Draw a rush minion to gain rush. Repeat for taunt and divine shield. Okay, so this is interesting. It reminds me of Lady Ashmore in some regards, and in some regards like the oh god, what is it? That card that we used to play in the Paladin decks that said like, if your deck has Divine Shield, gain Divine Shield.
4 mana one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Chat, do you guys know? It was like blood something, or if your deck has taunt, gain taunt. If your deck has lifesteal, gain lifesteal. And
such and so forth.
Yeah, and so this seems like Corpse Taker. Thank you, Cookie Bots. Appreciate that, Corpse Taker. So this reminds me of like a combination between Corpse Taker and Lady Ashmore. So like, okay, cool. Draw a rush minion. draw a taunt minion, draw a divine shield minion, gain all of those things. Like, okay, that's seems kind of legit. Too bad it's cost 8 mana, and so, I mean, depending on the way that your deck built, it's potentially an 8 mana draw 3, gain rush, taunt, and divine shield. Or maybe you don't want taunt. Maybe it just gets rush and divine shield. The bad thing, and it was the same with Corpse Taker, was if you draw the cards before you draw this, then it whiffs. And this could be an 8 mana 7/7. I feel like it has potential. It's probably a build around, and I don't really know where you would put this. It's got awesome flavor and it's got awesome art, and like, we're gonna get it in diamond, which is really cool. And it's Anduin's dad. Like, all right, that's cool. Like, I struggle with where to put this. It doesn't seem bad. Like, I wish it said draw a charge minion to gain charge. Because then I would pretty happily play it, but I don't know. Like, at 8 mana, draw these 3 cards. Like, by that time we're like halfway through the game. So I don't know. It feels really slow to me. Like, I feel like there's potential. It's a build around. I'm not quite sure what that is. It feels too slow for wild.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad that I don't think it's really that playable.
So it's super playable in standard, right? It's really just here in wild where it's not so much, right? So in standard, they're going to see and play it a lot, because it's basically Ziliax that draws and doesn't have lifesteal, unless they draw the other cards first, but that's a good problem to have at that point. Talon Fordring will probably tutor this card. That's kind of one way to get it. And if you don't draw Talon first, then guess what? You'll draw Talon whenever you play Varian.
Hey, yep.
So being able to put a big minion on board that can rush into something else big. It has Divine Shield, so it doesn't take the damage. And then it leaves behind Taunt. And it's a 8 mana 7/7 Taunt that's dealt with another big threat. Seems pretty good. The downside is, of course, it's 8 mana. And if we see 8 mana, then either our opponent is about to combo us off and this doesn't go face, or, they're aggro and drew terribly and we didn't need to play Varian to begin with. It just, in standard, it's going to be great because it's more mid-range. We're just a little bit faster with both aggro and combo. Will either have killed us or be killing us very shortly thereafter, or the very few control decks that we have will not have a problem dealing with Varian.
Yeah.
Kind of unfortunate, but
I give it a 2. I don't think it's like utter garbage. I really struggle to find anywhere that we're actually going to play this. So
yeah, I also gave it a 2 because if we can actually get there, drawing 3 and having a basically Ziliax is good. It's just a matter of getting there and the shell that surrounds it.
Yeah. All right. Well, wow, we did it. Yay! So
it's over. It's done.
Love it. Well, hey everybody, thanks for hanging out and watching with us all day. I think we hit a new record, especially considering there's only 2 of us for half of it. We have talked a lot today.
A new world record.
Yeah. So, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. We do a Wild Hearthstone podcast every Friday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're doing it on a Saturday today because we knew this was going to take forever. Not quite this long, but anyhow, thanks for hanging out. Next week, we will be recording back to our normal schedule on Friday evening. So our next show will be Friday, August the 6th. We will be hanging out with Goliath the Dwarf, doing a lore episode. And so if you want to come back and join us, we will be discussing the lore behind United in Stormwind. So the stories behind the characters and all of that stuff. If you missed any of this and you're interested in watching it, it will all be on YouTube at some point tomorrow. And the audio versions will be up on the podcast apps at some point tomorrow as well. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Sheep, where can people find you?
Yeah, I can be found around the internet at places where Electric Sheep City fits, at Electric Sheep City, like Twitch, and at places where it doesn't, at eSheep City, like on Twitter.
Very cool. Hydra, are you back? Just to say hi. Hello. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah, I thought I'd pop back in right at the end. Had to do some stuff, but it was a really good time reviewing all the cards, and just it was really great. And looking forward to the new expansion and all this stuff coming out real soon.
Yeah, it'll be a blast. Hey, Hydra, where can people find you? Since
You can find me at Hydralisk_HS on Twitter and Twitch, and please come check out the Discord and hang out with us there. It's always a great time. It's a great community. I highly suggest it. If you're looking for just friends to talk about Wild, Hearthstone, anything else, it's a really great community.
Yes, I agree 100%. The Discord has been a lot of fun. It's been a great place to meet people and hang out. And so, yeah, if you're looking for other Wild players, you want to interact with us, join our Discord. There's a link to it in the chat here, or if you visit our website, borntobewildhs.com, and click the Find Us page, there's a link to the Discord there. If you go to our website, you can get access to all of our past episodes, whether it's audio or video versions. And if you're looking for other Wild content creators, we've got a list of all the guests that we've had in the past on the show, links to their different social medias, whether it's Twitter or Twitch or YouTube or whatever else. So, yeah, hey, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And, join us again next Friday evening with Goliath the Dwarf for a lore episode, learning about all the background and the history behind these characters. And, thank you, friends, for hanging out. Big shout out to everybody in chat. Shout out to Hydra. Shout out to Sheep. We really appreciate you guys, and it's always fun doing these. It's a long day, but we always have a lot of fun. So rock and roll.
Hard agree, and thank you for facilitating all this, Nate. You are the real MVP.
Aww.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you. You always put in so much hard work.
That's so nice. All right. Well, hey, wiser words were never spoken. And you heard that on Born to Be Wild.